Chapter 10 of the Lean Startup is about growth and what you should do to tackle the problem of plateauing growth. So what do you do when growth starts to fizzle out? Well, in order to come up with a way to overcome this problem, you have to first understand what Eric Ries calls engines of growth. Now, there are three types of engines of growth that startups mostly rely on. These three types of engines of growth are the sticky engine of growth, the paid engine of growth, and finally, the viral engine of growth. Now, the sticky engine of growth is really measured by the rate at which a startup acquires new customers versus the rate at which these new customers leave the product, or existing customers leave the product, which is called the churn rate. As long as there is enough of a difference in the churn rate versus the rate at which a startup that's following the sticky engine of growth acquires new customers, that startup can continue to grow. There will be more and more users introduced to the product. Now, how you do that is you create an engaging product, which goes back to the idea that there are two things really that drive growth. One is product development and how good your product is at engaging existing users, and the other being the way in which you calibrate your engine of growth, the way in which you find new customers, which is more of sales and marketing. Now, the second engine of growth is the viral engine of growth, which really is a way of growing that relies on customer behavior. It relies on customers recommending your product to their friends. Now, how you grow as a startup using the viral engine of growth is you create a product that naturally leads customers to talk about your product with their friends. Now, in order to grow using the viral engine of growth, you have to make sure that the rate at which customers acquire new customers for you is exponential. In order to achieve viral growth, you want your viral coefficient to be greater than 1, meaning that out of 10 customers, you're able to get more than 10 customers out of them because of how they're each talking to more than one person about your product, leading to an acquisition of more than 10 customers based on the 10 existing customers that you have. The third engine of growth is paid marketing. And paid marketing is all about long-term customer value versus the cost per acquisition. The idea is that you want to make sure that the long-term customer value, which is what you're getting out of your customers, the value of that, and this can be measured through maybe online purchases through your product, or maybe the potential value you'll be getting from selling the attention that this customer is giving to you, maybe to advertisers. There are many ways to measure customer value. You want to make sure that LTV, long-term value, of your customers is greater than the cost of acquiring these customers. So now that you're familiar with the three engines of growth, what can you do when you face the problem of plateauing growth? What can you do when growth flatlines? Well, there are many things you can actually do, one of which is to change your engine of growth, which is called a growth engine pivot. You can change from relying maybe on paid advertising to maybe a viral engine of growth where you're relying on word of mouth. But at the end of the day, growth engines will fizzle out. You will reach a point where there's only that much sales and marketing you can do. There's only that much you can do to continue to tune your engine of growth. There will be a point where you'll face a growth rate that just simply does not change. To overcome the problem of flatline growth, you want to be continuously innovating with your product. You want to be continually developing products that break into more and more markets, that bring you out of the early adopter markets into mainstream markets. And to do that, you have to have a solid process for product development. And that is the topic for Chapter 11 of the Lean Startup. Engines of growth can really help with driving new customer acquisition, but there will be a point where these engines will fizzle out. You'll start facing what's called a stagnant rate of growth, where the rate of growth just simply doesn't change. It might not go down, but it just won't change. And in order to continue to increase that rate, you have to rely on product development, on product improvements. So that's it for Chapter 10 of the Lean Startup, and I will see you for Chapter 11's summary.